EDM star Avicii has died.
On the 20th of April 2018, world-renowned electronic dance superstar Avicii died of suicide in Muscat, Oman.
Avicii, whose real name was Tim Bergling, was 28 years old.
Avicii was one of the most hard-working DJs in the show business, credited with blending electronic music with elements of multiple genres, such as country, folk, rock, and pop. He popularized electronic music in the mainstream radio in the early 2010s.
Some of us dance and sing to ABBA and Avicii.
But behind the scenes, Avicii faced a lot of pressure and stress from the demands of his career and the expectations of his fans.
I can only say that I think the music business was too much for him. He was, he was cut from the cloth of the producer. He wasn't cut from the cloth of the entertainer. I think that's what got him, too much pressure.
He ultimately sought solace from alcoholism, drugs, and addiction, which would ultimately take his life in 2018. In this video, we'll examine the untimely events that led to the death of the iconic superstar Avicii at just the age of 28. Avicii was born as Tim Bergling on September 8, 1989, in Stockholm, Sweden. He was the son of Klas Bergling, who ran an office supply business, and Anki Lidén, who was a small-time actress. He had 3 siblings, David, Linda, and Anton. He was influenced by his older brother, who was also a musician and DJ. He started mixing in his bedroom at the age of 8 and started making music at the age of 16, using a pirated copy of FL Studio, and posted remixed songs for artists like Madonna, Coldplay, and David Guetta. In May 2007, Bergling signed on with the Dejfitts Plays label. His remixes gained attention from music labels and DJs, where he adopted the stage name Avicii, which means the lowest level of Buddhist hell. He chose the name because his real name was already used upon creating his Myspace page. Avicii released Bromance, which was his first official single, released in 2010 under the name Tim Berg. Bromance performed relatively well and topped the charts in Belgium and the Netherlands. Avicii would, however, break to fame when he released his breakthrough single Levels on the 28th of October 2011 through Universal Music Group on iTunes. The song was a global hit, reaching the top 10 in more than 20 countries and being nominated for a Grammy Award. It is considered to be one of Avicii's most popular and influential songs, as it helped to popularize electronic dance as a mainstream genre. Levels was also used in several commercials, movies, and video games, such as FIFA 12, Dance Central 3, and Wreck-It Ralph. On the 17th of June 2013, Avicii released Wake Me Up, which combines folk and soul elements with EDM beats and features vocals from Aloe Black. It was a global smash hit, topping the charts in over 20 countries. It is Avicii's most streamed song on Spotify, with over 1.8 billion plays. On the 1st of November 2013, he would follow Wake Me Up with another global hit, Hey Brother, which is a folk EDM fusion that features vocals from Dan Tyminski, best known for his work with Alison Krauss and Union Station. It is a tribute to Avicii Brother and has a powerful message of brotherhood and loyalty. The Nights, released in 2014, is inspired by Avicii's father, who told him to live a life he will remember. It is part of the FIFA 15 soundtrack and has a motivational theme of living life to the fullest. As Avicii enjoyed worldwide success and topped the billboards worldwide, he suffered from health issues, stress, and addiction. Avicii's mental struggles began as a kid. He was often anxious and was self-conscious about his appearance, especially his teen acne. When his music career took off, he was thrust center stage, where he performed for thousands of people. He turned to alcohol to give him an extra boost of confidence, and his drinking became nearly constant. According to Avicii, he threw back drinks regularly to steady his nerves. Avicii touring became intense, with as many as 300 gigs in a year. While touring, his drinking was excessive, but Avicii felt he couldn't slow down, say no, or stop the whirlwind. In January of 2012, Avicii was rushed to the hospital with severe stomach pain. The doctors discovered pancreatitis. This disease was caused by Avicii drinking and his acne medication. The doctors advised him to stay sober for at least 6 months and not to eat junk food, but Avicii didn't heed to the doctors' warnings. He admitted, "Of course, I didn't listen to the majority of the doctors. I listened to the couple who said it was okay if I was careful. I was ignorant and naive and touring the world, still on the never-ending tour, because once you've circled it once, guess what? You start right back over again." And he started back over again. But Avicii started down another dark path: opioid addiction. He was discharged from the hospital with an oxycodone prescription. As he re-entered his hectic lifestyle, the alcohol and junk food flowed freely, and Avicii started popping pills to deal with the stomach pain. In February of 2013, Avicii was rushed to the hospital again. His pancreas was inflamed. Doctors recommended surgery to remove his gallbladder, but Avicii said he was too busy for surgery. He got more painkillers to manage flare-ups and went back on tour. Avicii was forced to deal with his health problems in 2014. His appendix ruptured. He was hospitalized, and both his appendix and gallbladder were removed. He left the hospital with more painkiller prescriptions. His parents tried to wean him off the painkillers later that year, but Avicii escaped to LA, where he had a personal doctor to prescribe him all the painkillers he wanted. That winter, Avicii's stomach had to be pumped twice. He had downed deadly combinations of alcohol, painkillers, and panic disorder meds. After these incidents, his family and friends staged an intervention. Avicii went to rehab after this intervention. There, he realized he had been turning to drugs to deal with his stress, depression, and anxiety. When he left rehab, he bought a puppy, traveled with friends, and started meditating regularly. He surprised his fans when he announced he would be retiring from touring in 2016 at only 26 years old. He wanted to leave the stage and focus on his health. Avicii took the stage for the last time in August that year. He drank, smoked marijuana, and took psychedelic drugs. He continued to make music in the studio, but he never returned to the stage. Then, in April of 2018, he took a trip with friends to Oman. Shortly before the vacation, he noted, "I've been for 10 years thinking I need to fix something in order to be happy and confident. But in reality, I know now I only need to exercise my brain with meditation, and I will be happy, and the rest will follow." Acquaintances who saw him before his departure said that he did not seem suicidal. They reported that he was happy, excited, and full of energy. However, by the time he got to his holiday destination, his behavior was worrying his friends and family. One of his friends called Avicii's father. The friend was concerned that Avicii was spending entire days meditating, refusing to eat or take shade from the scorching sun. A day or two before his death, he called his family from abroad. He made some comments that made them suspect he was considering suicide. In fact, they were so concerned, according to some reports, that his brother David immediately flew to Oman to make sure he was safe. Sadly, he would arrive too late, because later on April 20th, 2018, Avicii was found dead in his hotel room in Muscat, Oman. The cause of his death was reported as suicide after his family said he could not go on any longer. He wanted to find peace. His friends reported that in his last few months, he often meditated for hours a day, seeking peace that he could not find. It was later reported that in the last few hours before his body was discovered, he cut himself with a shard of glass. Some reports said that it was a broken wine bottle. This led to significant blood loss and eventually death. After his death, however, the DJ's family said the pressures of management were strongly related to the deterioration of their son's mental health. They said that the musician found it extremely difficult to deal with producers urging him to continue touring and recording. He was also sensitive to critical or hateful fan mail and was stressed by his time in the international spotlight. The investigation into Avicii's death was minimal. Omani police said that there was little evidence of foul play. The musician was known to have been depressed and suicidal. There were no signs that the wounds had been anything but self-inflicted. Fans and peers alike expressed shock and grief at the news of his death. Many musicians, some of whom had collaborated with him in the past, publicly expressed their condolences to his family. In June 2018, Avicii life was celebrated at a private funeral at Skogskirko Garden Cemetery in Stockholm. He was laid to rest at Hedvig Eleonora Church. The funeral was attended only by family and close personal friends. In November 2018, however, his family held a public memorial service and invited fans to pay their respects. Hundreds of mourners came to Hedvig Eleonora Church, where they heard orchestral performances of some of the musician's most iconic songs, including Wake Me Up. At the 2018 Billboard Music Awards, a month after the musician's death, he was honored by former collaborators, the Chainsmokers and Halsey. The singers also used the opportunity to speak about the need for mental health and community support for those struggling with suicidal tendencies. Avicii remains one of the most successful electronic dance musicians of all time. While his death at such a young age was a tragedy, the mark that Avicii left on the world was immeasurable.